All right, guys, we'll go ahead and get started right here with Bruiser Flynn. As always, use the raise hands feature, and we'll get to your questions. Let's go ahead and get started with Brew. Jerry Tipton, I'll start with you, and then John Long, you'll have after him.
Yeah, Bruiser, you guys will be the hunter in this game, it would appear, not the hunted. How how does that impact things, do you think?
Well, everybody's hunting them right now. They're in first place. They're undefeated in the conference. So, we just got to play better than we did the last time. We got to do some things differently. They're the hot team in the league right now. So we got to give them our best.
How much did you guys, Bruiser, review the film of the first game, and what did you glean from it?
One, they play with a lot more toughness than we play with. The other thing about the game is, and it's been our Achilles heel all year, points off turnovers. I want to say they had 28 points off of turnovers. When we have that high of a number, doesn't matter who we're playing. They're even more dangerous because they're probably the best offensive team in the league. So you give it to them off turnovers, they're going to convert them. So points off turnover, physical play. That's going to be a big part of this game.
John Long, we'll go to you, then Larry Bott.
Hi, Bruiser. One of the reasons we enjoyed Kenny Payne when he was here was when he came out for these conferences, he always offered us more insight, especially into the players and how they were struggling. Can you talk a little bit about Olivier and why do you think it's taken him maybe a little bit more time to adjust than we thought it would?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know myself. But I think Olivier, he has his struggles. I think he has to be a little bit more confident in himself. But I think the things that he's been becoming a little bit more consistent than he was before, when he had real highs and then real lows. So I think he's been a little bit more consistent over the past couple of weeks. But what Olivier is, hey, believe in what you're doing. Kid has great skill level. He's a great kid. He works at it. Just got to believe at what you're doing. This was a big leap for him too, coming from Wake Forest to Kentucky. Pressure's totally different on how people perceive how you play. And if you don't think that plays a part in it, then you're crazy. But I think the last couple of weeks, I think he's feeling a lot more comfortable, and you can see in his play a little bit, a lot more consistent. Cal's been getting on him about his rebounding, and he's been rebounding the ball like heck the last few games. So that's one of the things I will say that you can see he's getting a little bit more comfortable out there.
All right, thank you.
Larry Bott, go ahead.
Bruiser, why do you think this team has consistently struggled to score points and had trouble getting more than 65 points in nine of your games? And two, you think there's any chance Cal might just get thrown out in this game and then turn it over to you like he did at Mississippi State?
Y'all guys love that one, huh?
Yeah, we did.
Did we score in the 60s in the game that we won, that Mississippi State game? So
No, you got more than that.
Okay. Well, I mean, one of the biggest things for us is turnovers. When we get in trouble, we turn the ball over a lot. If you don't turn the ball over, you get more opportunities to score yourselves. So when we have low turnover rate and we have a low turnover points off a turnover rate, we'll score more points. LSU, I want to say they scored less than 10 points off turnover. We scored in the 80s. It's all about how we handle the ball. When we handle the ball better and we take care of the ball, we'll score more points. But if you continually throw it away and you got 19 to 20 turnovers in those games, you're not going to score that many points.
Thanks.
Jerry, I'll come back to you.
Bruiser, how well does Alabama shoot the three, and how important is keeping that fairly reasonable in the game tomorrow night?
That's what they do. I was just in here laughing with Eric about, you guys see the warm-ups. they rarely even shoot layups in their warm-up line. So the three ball is what they do. I mean, that's what they do. They want to shoot a lot of them. They've shot it extremely well. That's one reason why they've gotten away from a lot of teams, because they can come down and can consecutively just start knocking them down. And if you can't keep pace, then it's a tough struggle. We got to do a better job of probably chasing them off the 3-point line. But I bet you that's every team that they play talks about that. So we got to do a better job at that. And again, like it goes back to the whole turnover thing. If you're not giving them the ball, you make them play in front of you, then you got a better chance of playing defense.
And you mentioned the pressure that, the intensity of interest, shall we say, in Kentucky basketball is different and can impact players. How so?
You guys probably know better than me. You've been here a lot longer. I think it's pretty intense. What the people say and do. I'm not a person that goes and follows it, but I know it's there, and the expectations are extremely high. I think sometimes they get a little crazy, but that's what you sign up for. I'm not crazy to not say that. That's what you sign up for, and you got to be ready for it. But I mean, you love to have fans like that, but it can get a little out of hands. And with social media today, these kids, they read that stuff and it affects them. So you got to be a little bit more sensitive to it. And we talk to them all the time about stay off of the reading about that stuff. But it's hard with these kids. That's what they grew up doing.
Larry, come back to you.
Bruiser, you said it's no secret Alabama's going to shoot 3-point shots, but is it hard to defend that and just mark that you stop them doing that because they have so many guys that can shoot the 3-point shot? Is that what makes them different?
I just think the biggest thing is, contesting them. They're going to make tough threes because that's what they do. We're not going to stop them from shooting three. They're going to try to get 30 to 40 3-point shots off a game. So our biggest thing is, like I said before, is about we got to do a better job at contesting, and we can't turn the ball over to them. So now they get unguarded threes in transition because we turn the ball over. Like I said, that's when they're at their best when they're getting it up and down and shooting the 3 ball. So big deal is going to be how we handle the ball, make them play a little bit defense, and try to do as best we can in contesting the 3-point shots that they're going to shoot, because they're going to shoot them.
I remember after the last game, John talked about that he thought guys were sometimes a little hesitant to try to contest the shot because they were afraid then they just would go right by them for a layup. How do you balance those two things?
Sometimes you got to make them put it on the floor, shoot the layup. That's one of the things, the strategies you have when the team shoots a lot of threes. At times you're going to give up some layups. So you guys will be complaining about giving up layups. We're trying to not let them shoot any threes. But they're a good offensive team. That's why they're undefeated in the league. I mean, they're a good offensive team. They're hard to guard. They have tough matchups no matter who you're playing against. But like I said, that's why they're undefeated in the conference, and they're playing well because they're shooting the ball extremely well.
Jack Pilgrim, you're next, and then Kyle Tucker.
Hey, Bruiser. Kyle said last week that Oscar would be on his way in about 5 days. I think he said it January 15th. He said he'd be there in 5 days. Is Oscar on campus yet? I know today's the first day of class.
I'll be honest with you. Y'all know more about the Oscar thing than I do. So.
Gotcha.
Kyle Tucker, go ahead.
Yeah, Bruiser, obviously there are some times you can kind of still see that Isaiah Jackson is maybe a little bit lost in some of the things you're doing, but also there's so many times where you see that natural ability take over. I mean, he'll block 5 shots in 12 minutes or get 15 rebounds in 16 minutes like the other night. How do you balance as coaches when you have a player like that who may not be fully versed in everything you're trying to do, but that natural ability is so potentially game changing?
I mean, you just I don't want to say you limit his minutes, but one of the things that you do, you put him out there when he's going well, you keep him out there. That's about it. But he's been getting better. He's getting better and better. His potential is unbelievable. and he's gotten a lot better this year. So, we keep him out there. I think we got a good rotation going with our big guys now. He makes a huge difference because he's just naturally just a great shot blocker and things defensively. But he's a freshman, and he struggles with sometimes some of the things you ask him to do, like all freshmen do. But he's getting better with it. So that's all we can ask him.
John Wong, I'll circle back to you, and then Jerry after that.
Hey, Bruiser, as a fan, when I watch somebody like Alabama, they're a fun team to watch. And you kind of wonder, especially with their success, why more teams don't do what they do, spread the floor, shoot threes. Is that just a matter of the personnel that they have, or is there some sort of inherent philosophy that that causes a coach to want to play more that style?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that's how he wants to play as a coach, and he has the players to do it. If he didn't have the players to do it, I doubt if he'd shoot a lot of threes, or he probably wouldn't have his job really long, but very long. But I mean, they got the personnel to do it that way, and I think that is his philosophy. I think he's a coach that likes to shoot a lot of 3-point shots. So what you try to do is you try to recruit to that personnel. If you don't have that type of personnel and you play that way, you're defeating the purpose of what you're trying to do. But it's a good combination of that's the way he wants to play, and he has the players to do it.
What one other thing, I just interested in getting your perspective on this. With a limited fan attendance right now, we can hear Coach Cal a lot more now. We can hear everything that he screams, and I know different players respond differently to that. Is that constant screaming just Coach Cal being Coach Cal, or have you noticed certain players that respond better to maybe a different type of teaching method?
I think if you went to any school right now with COVID, you can hear the coach screaming. To be honest with you, like you're going to hear the other coach talk. You just pay attention to Cal because that's what you cover. So, but I think if you was to go to any other schools, you would hear the same thing. I think you could ask that question to any person at any university at this point in time because of the situation that we're in with no fans or anything like that. I'm sure I'm sure you've covered him for a long time, so you know how he is. You're just hearing him now because there's no fans. But I bet you, if you went anywhere, you would hear the coach. So because of the situation that we're in with the COVID, and there's no fans in the stands.
Jerry, we'll go with you, and might have time for one more after that.
Yeah, Bruiser, I wonder which is the real Kentucky, the one that made 5 of the first 8 threes, or the one that only made 2 the rest of the game?
I'm hoping we're somewhere in between. To be honest with you, we don't have to have a high, we don't have to have a low. So I'm hoping that we're somewhere in between. But we're not Alabama. We're not going to shoot a million 3-point shots. That's not what we do. So, but I'm hoping that we're in between. Shoot a decent percentage from the 3-point line. That's all I ask. Sometimes you're really hot and sometimes you're really cold. That's the thing about threes. It's a little bit of fool's gold, a little bit. You can feel good about it one day, and the next day you can't make one. So, but I mean, I hope that we're in the middle, that we shoot a decent percentage. But I also know too that Cal really believes in having some post presence. He thinks that's a big deal. So, we're not just a team going to go out and shoot a whole bunch of 3-point shots.
What signs do you see, Bruiser, of more consistency overall from the
One of the
team?
things, only thing we ask is that guys shoot them when they're open. We don't want guys to shoot forced threes. And we'll have our stretches where we'll be pretty good at it, and sometimes we don't. But as long as you're open, as long as they're good 3-point shots.
All right, guys, we will end it there. Bruiser, give us a couple minutes, and we'll get Olivier in here for you.